Well, look who we have here. It's you lot. How are you guys? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. Guess what day it is, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, it's game day. Come on. Tottenham Hotspur back in the Premier League against Brentford. Traditionally a very difficult game. Lots to discuss about that, about the rigmaroles of trying to get 3 points when teams around you have done something similar, apart from Aston Villa. It's an interesting opportunity. It's very interesting. I hope you are locked in. Please do me a favor, as I wish you all of the health and happiness in the world, doing the things you love with the people that you love doing them with. Please do me some favors, guys, like you always do. You are so good at this stuff. As my man Drew Zilla has said, smash the subscribe. And even if you have, double check you still are. Hashtag YouTube shenanigans. Big up, Drew. Hope you're okay, my man. Hope you're well. Hit the like button as well, guys. Like taking off your shoes. Super important. It really helps out. 100 people in the house. It's 3 o'clock on a Wednesday. Don't you have things to do? Or are you like me? And you do have things to do, but you'd rather be doing this. And so you procrastinate on them and you get down to business. Guys, there's lots to talk about. Lots to talk about. As you may have seen in the title, I'm a little bit not concerned. Not concerned that I know this might be taken, this sort of, if people were to read into it the way that it could be read into a little bit, then some sections of the fan base may use this as a tool in which to, I don't know, get back onto the Levy thing with regards club signings versus player signings, manager signings rather, whether the manager's been backed, all of these things. I feel like there might have been a little bit in Ange's press conference, in the embargoed section of the press conference, that if we want to pick the bones out of it, then there's certain things we can pick. It's interesting. As the window finishes in, what is it now? About 36 hours time, something like that. Not even 36 hours time, 31 hours time, whatever. How are you all doing, guys? Let's say hello to some people. We've got to talk about the Brentford game. We want to talk about a little bit about some transfer news, views, and clues as well, because Fabrizio Romano has spoken a little bit about Conor Gallagher. And of course, we've got the Dominic Solanke news. I don't know if you guys have seen the video, guy. I got out of bed at 11:30 last night. I was just about to fall asleep, and all of a sudden I see the Sky Sports News start talking about it, and I'm listening on my laptop and my ears prick up, and I'm like, wait, what? What's that? Is that about Tottenham? Dominic Solanke. So I sit upright, get out of bed, put my clothes back on, come and sit in the chair of doom and record the video. And I am astonished by essentially the wave of opinion against Dominic Solanke. I'm not astonished. I've got a theory on it, but I am a little bit surprised. I dial down the word astonished. I'm surprised that there wasn't more people that are okay or kind of curious about the prospect. It was 99%. All the comments, 99.9%. I'm not even sure if there was one comment that was like, oh, okay, I don't mind. I think the most positive was, I don't know why there's so much hate. That was it. Everybody, vast majority of people were saying, no, thank you. What is this? What are we doing here? We're doing it again. We are doing it again. Smash the like button, guys. Let's see who's in the house before we get into it. Adam McFarlane first in the house. Good to see you, my man. Would take Gallagher for 50 mil. Nothing more. Ange wants box to box. He fits the bill. Just don't think he wants to play for us. We're going to talk about Conor Gallagher in just a second. Good afternoon, says Adrian. He's going to the game tonight. I'm supposed to be going to the game, but you know what, guys? I haven't explained to you, and I won't yet. I will. I've got to make a big decision about something with my personal life, but consequently, regardless of whatever decision I make, I've got to extend this dry January thing for months and months and months. So I'm going to be a boring man. No more drunken tirades. No more drunken rants on this channel for a long time, and I've got to take myself out of certain situations where I'm going to be tempted to get drunk, and because it's the end of the month, I thought I would go and have a drink tonight. but I didn't, and so I can't. So I sold my ticket. Well, at least it's on the exchange. So I'm not going. But Adrian is. Good luck to you, Adrian. I hope you are doing wonderful dances around the South Stand exit at 10 o'clock tonight. I will be doing the content on here. We're doing the post-match fan show. I'll also I'm thinking about doing a watch along. I'm thinking about it, but I don't really enjoy watch alongs as much as I enjoy other types of content. I like to more dial into the game. So we will see. But anyway, let's see who else is in the house. Big up Drew is in the house. Big up everyone. I hope you're all having a good day, and we are looking forward to tonight. Likes game has been awesome. It has been awesome. Drew's doing the Lord's work here. It's fantastic stuff. Let's keep it going. Smash the like when you take your shoes off. It's absolutely sensational. Big up to you, my man. Big up Mark Cookie as well. Big up Shawnee. John Bostich is in the house. Big up Sean. I am not a massive fan of Solanke. He isn't the clinical finisher we need, and he doesn't really fit to our system. I wouldn't be happy with him in the squad, especially for this heavy price. Yeah, I mean, you're certainly not alone, mate, in that general take. People aren't on board with it. I genuinely think. Let me come back to it. I'll come back to it, John. Dean Kilgan's in the house. What's happening, Dean? Good to see you. Come on, you Spurs. Adam William Cahill's in the house. It's game day. It is indeed, mate. It is indeed the best day of the week. Scripting Wands in the house. Got some insider information from Ange saying we'll win 3-0 tonight. Come on, let's do it. Scripting Wands. Really appreciate you. Let's because I haven't got that long. I've got an hour top. So let me get. I've got quite a lot to talk about as well. So let me say hello to the members, and then we can get straight into it. I'll be bringing up the comments as we go through. Gregor's in the house. No, like I say, I'm not sure yet, mate. I'm not sure. I've got a lot of work on as well. I've got to try and juggle a few spinning plates and things. Can you imagine trying to juggle spinning plates? That would be a real magic trick. Who else we got? RFS 1899. Big up, my man. Donovan Osterreicher's in the house. Good to see you. Martin Knightsbridge is in the house. Good to see you. For 23K. Appreciate you, mate. Yeah, that came around really quick, didn't it? Really quick. January's been a blockbuster month for the channel. In fact, the whole last 2023 was insane. We started 2023 with 4,500 subs, and we ended it with 22,000, I think it was. No, 21,000 or something. No, 20,000, something like that. And then this month it's been 3K. It's been absolutely, it's been insane numbers. In a coma's in the house. Good to see you, my man. Shawnee, my lover. Okie doke. Okie doke. Wilson T's in the house. Arthur Shaw, good to see you. Good to see you. David Irish Hotspurs in the building as well. What's up? What's happening, Dave? Good to see you, my man. No Lanky says Spurs King. Who else we got going on here? Luke Pierre, member of the channel. Solanke's better than Richarlison. Sean, you got this, my man. Join me in the salad water and green tea brigade. Yeah, it's miserable life though, isn't it, Dave? Miserable life, buddy. Do you know what? I was walking around the house this morning kind of going, like, is this all there is now? Is this all there is? I'm going to have to find myself some like passion that I don't know, go and take up golf again or something like that. I don't know. Feel like when you're not drinking, you got far too much time on your hands. What we got here? Ryan Showell. Hey up, mate. Hope you're well. I don't think we're desperate anymore, Sean. No rush for one hit wonders. 100%. Well, listen, yeah, I made that point clear last night. I definitely don't. If the Solanke deal is if the rumors are at least based in reality, then for me, in order for me to be on board it on any level, before we worry about cost or fit, it has to be based on a part of a plan. And when you get these last minute kind of stories that pop up out of nowhere, you start to think, if there is truth to it, is it more out of opportunity rather than out of, like a project, like people getting around a room and sitting there saying, well, how high up on the shortlist is he? And on that note, like I say, I want to talk to you about the press conference. And unfortunately, let me just straight up say this right now. I was going to show you the embargoed press conference. I was just going to put up a YouTube video that someone else has obviously had with the embargoed section. And I was like, I don't know if I can do that. I'm not sure because, you can do like reaction content. So I don't know if you're allowed to react. If you're allowed to react to content, does that mean you can get around copyright? I don't really understand it. But I was like, there's no transcript of his press conference that I can find. So I was like, I'll just play it for you lot and then we can react to it. But then I scrolled down into the description and the guy was like, this is, if I see anyone utilizing any of this content, I will hit you with a copyright strike. You do not have permission to use it. So on that basis, you're going to have to allow me to paraphrase, and then I would encourage you to go and watch the embargoed section if you haven't, just to double check that my take is your take and we're on the same page, if you understand what I'm saying. Thank you, North London guy. Appreciate you, my man. Yeah, it's a bit crazy, but we got to do what we got to do. You know, you got to face it head on. It's about mentality, as my man Henry Wright would say. It's all about mentality. Loving the shows of late. Appreciate you, Hollywood. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you, my man. Who else haven't I said hello to yet? Daniel Borden's in the house, as is Mr. Sinclair. You guys are always here. Don Paratici, never trust Ange with a secret. Yeah, exactly. I think it was the worst kept secret in the world, wasn't it? That he is, yeah, it is, mate. It's miserable being good. It's miserable being good. I used to have this phrase. It was like I thought it belonged in a lyric to a song. You know, if I only do things that I know are killing me, because it's the only way I feel alive. And I'm sure that someone could be a wordsmith and write that down into a lyric. But unless I know it kills me, then I don't ever really feel alive. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to like settle down and I don't know, find a girl, get married, and plow my energy into watching kids play football or rugby or something. I don't know. But life is boring the way it is at the moment. But hopefully I'll get over it. Matthew Childers in the house. Good to see you, my man. It's just the media trying to create drama. Who else we got? Who else haven't I said hello to yet? Who else haven't I said hello to? I've got so much to do. So let's. We're straight into it. We're done. We've caught everyone up, all the members, everyone else who's not a member. Appreciate you stopping by anyway. As I say, hit the like and the subscribe. Get involved in the chat. I want to see everyone's chat and chatting as we embark. Right, so let's start on the transfer news. Let's do that. Let's start with the... Where am I at here? Where am I at? Where is it? Here we go. I don't know when this came out or where it came out, but I hadn't seen it until just now. It's being quoted by Give Me Sport, but this is from Fabrizio Romano on the current situation at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Romano told Give Me Sport. Oh, there you go. He told these people it's an exclusive. That remains a possibility. And we've been hearing that since September, basically. At the moment, Chelsea have not received any direct call from Tottenham yet. Let's see if it happens in the final hours of the transfer window. But at the moment, the situation remains the same. Also, on the players' side, they have not received any direct message from Tottenham yet. So there's nothing really to get on board with. The rest of this stuff talks about Ange going off to Liverpool. He's not going to go to Liverpool. Relax, everybody. However, what I do want to say is, in the press conference, in the embargo part of the press conference, there was a question that said, have you ever not had final say on a transfer since you've been at Tottenham? And remember back in the Tottenham fan forum, he was on the stage and there was Daniel Levy was there and a few other people were there, Todd Klein and that, I think. And he said, every transfer that comes through this door, I have final say on. It doesn't happen without me. And so everyone was like, rest assured, every player that's playing for Tottenham is going to be one that Ange wants. Right, that was the assumption. That is the assumption. In the embargo press conference, he said, to answer the question, he said, have you ever been refused or have you ever not had final say on a transfer? And he said no. And then he said, but that's not to say that it's like my way or the highway, because there'll be times when the club might come to me and say, we really like this player. And he said, I understand that, but if it's a player that I absolutely don't want and won't use, then I will draw a line in the sand, because it's about resources and you don't want the club to be wasting resources on a player that I don't particularly see. I'm paraphrasing here because I can't show you the thing, but basically said I don't want the club to be wasting resources on a player that I won't use. And ultimately it comes down to accountability. Why do I want to be accountable for a player that I don't want? So with that, it starts to get you thinking, like, is that the same? Is that the same thing as saying I get final say and every player that comes in I want? There's a difference between tolerating players that you don't mind but are not your first choice versus players that you've gone to Daniel Levy, Paratici, Langer, and saying this is the guy, or no, I don't really like that guy. I know you might like him, and I see what you're saying there, but I prefer this guy. There's a difference. It seems like there's a bit of a compromise, and to me, I think the insight there is quite interesting. It is very interesting that he said that in the press conference ahead of the window closing. Can we infer from it that he didn't get everything that he wanted, and that he's a little bit irked? He's a little bit frustrated that he wanted a little bit more, because in the same press conference he said, "Yeah, look, it's entirely unlikely anything more is going to come in." Also, is it more than reasonable? And I've been making this point for a long time on this channel, that managers do have to tolerate club signings to a degree, or that the blend between club signings and manager signings shouldn't be as, or the line between the two, there shouldn't be a debate around whether the club, if the club wanted a manager, then the manager, sorry, if the club wanted a player, then the manager didn't, or if the manager wanted a player, then the club didn't. For me, I think it's a madness, and it's a moot point anyway, because when you look at the average tenure of most managers in the Premier League, it's 1.5 years. I think it's even lower than that over the last 36 months. I think the average tenure has been something like 13.5 months, 14 months, something like 400 days, something like that. And yet you're signing players to 4, 5, 6-year contracts. And so on those ratios, it's entirely likely that when you sign a manager, when you sign a player, you're signing a player that's going to see out possibly 2, 3, or maybe even 4 different managers at the helm. And so is it fair that a club has to sit there and say, look, we obviously, all contracts want to be respected. All contracts would hopefully be not just fulfilled, but extended. But ultimately, statistics and science and the math suggests that these players will outlive you, and therefore we have to keep more than one eye on the benefit of the club and not just what you want. And in an ideal world, that's why you have people in the background like the Paraticis or the Langers, who are here on rolling contracts, like an employee that's just picking up a wage rather than for a contracted period of time. I'm not sure, but I think that there is a need for all parties to compromise, and you just hope that you are on the same bandwidth, the same sort of frequency. All these people, the scouts, the directors of football, the and the managers and the board, the sort of accountants, that they're all on the same page with the process, and that there's always a little bit of give and take. But when it comes to someone like Ange's system specifically, his style of football is so nuanced and so very unique to him that nobody knows his football as well as he does. And so you would hope that he has explained, and that the people that are finding those next talents, the wonder kids and the players that are available for us right now, the likes of Timo Werner that come in on a loan deal, you would hope that they are completely on board with it, the sort of player that Ange needs, which is, I think, an obvious statement, right? There's nothing crazy about that. But then when you also find out in the exact same embargo press conference, when he says, what sort of relationship do you have with Fabio Paratici? And he says, I keep those conversations to a minimum. You know, I know he does a brilliant job. He's got great talent ID, but for the benefit of his working life, not just at Tottenham, but wherever he's gone, he keeps those conversations few and far between. And there'll be a couple of text conversations and a phone call every now and again. So to me, like, the reason I'm bringing it up, I'm not trying to upset the apple cart or ruffle any feathers here, but I do feel like there's a lot of information that's just been sort of dumped into the embargo press conference that needs to be digested from us as a fan base, and figure out what exactly is the ratio of involvement in the talent ID. If Ange and Paratici, if Ange and Paratici and Langer and the scouts, or if let's assume that the other parts of the puzzle, apart from Ange, are communicating a lot, but that none of those conversations get back to Ange, how can they be sure that they're identifying players that fit the system if Ange isn't talking to them as much as you would hope that they are talking, if that makes sense? And when the system is so nuanced, so unique, that most people in the Premier League haven't seen a double inversion before, most people haven't seen quite the same style of football, and it's taken the Premier League by surprise, which is probably why we started the season so well. And then as time has gone on, with the advent of the injuries and the crises we've gone through, but also there's a bit of a higher sample size of our football that other teams can prepare for. My point being that how is it? Surely communication in this is the most important thing, and Ange is saying that there really isn't that much communication. But at the same time, he has final say for the most part, but he hasn't had to use it. He hasn't had to kind of draw that line. He hasn't had to reject a player and also find out that the club on one particular point, one particular signing have said, sorry, Ange, we actually want this player at the club. So we're going to, overrule you and then see what the fallout is there. I'm not sure, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Is there something to digest in there? Is there something we need to kind of figure out and fallout? I don't know. MS is saying Levy out. Don't know about that one. I'm okay with Daniel Levy as the chairman. The Big D is saying Sean, totally agree with not buying a layer to fix a small issue unless it's a loan deal. Well, that's the other thing, right? 100% for me at this stage in the window. If you are, as I said already, if you are identifying players that just pop up through opportunism, then I think you are taking massive risks on 4 or 5 year deals that, again, you're going to, like, in all likelihood, I hope not. I really hope Ange is here for the long term. I hope that Ange has a career at Tottenham as long as Jurgen Klopp has had at Liverpool, for sure. But statistics say it won't be. And so 4 or 5, most of the players that we've signed will probably outlive Ange Postecoglou, statistically. So it's important that we get that stuff right. And it's important for me that those players should be all on the players that we do go after should have been well vetted. And if Ange has to veto a couple of names, so be it, right? And I hope that the club respect that because he understands what he needs better than anybody else. It's a juggling act. There's a number of plates that need to be spun. But I do think it's worth. I just want to get your take on. I want to get your thoughts on what this means. Derek saying Langer and Paratici liaise, Postecoglou and Langer liaise. Think you're making much more to this than is actually there, Sean. You're overthinking. Unlike me to overthink, mate. Unlike me to analyze things too much. I don't know. Maybe I am overthinking it, but I'm just saying that he said he doesn't. He keeps that stuff to a minimum. So I don't know, mate. I don't know if I am overthinking it. I think that at the very genesis of a club going through a rebuild, and you're putting all your eggs into the Ange Postecoglou basket, and that particular system is pretty nuanced. I think it's important that everybody who is identifying the future talent to help that system be successful is very, very well versed in exactly what that player looks like and needs. And you would hope that there would be regular, ongoing, consistent, and frequent communication between the various decision makers in that. And he said that there's not. So it's a strange one to me. A strange one. As far as Conor Gallagher goes, he obviously is a player that it comes across as a player that Ange really likes. Is he a player that the club really like? I don't know. Me personally, like I said, you know how I feel about it. I've kind of changed my mind a little bit about signing him. I think it's too much money. I think you're helping out a rival that are starting to click. For what it's worth, I think Liverpool will absolutely bulldoze Chelsea tonight, in my opinion. But generally speaking, Chelsea are unbeaten in 7 at home. They're starting to click in that regard. They've got a lot of young talent, and I don't want to help them financially figure out how to get past the rules in which they can then go back to Sugar Daddy Todd Bowley and his consortium to go and spend whatever it is, 100 million quid on a Victor Osimhen, who then is going to bring them the goals to convert the chances that they currently are making. You don't want them to be a threat next year. And going and signing Conor Gallagher, are we missing the wood for the trees? I worry about that one, but the story won't go away. He also doesn't want to come. So I'm not going to keep banging on about the reasons why. I used to be on board it. I'm no longer on board it. As far as Dominic Solanke goes, guys, I need everyone. Yes, sorry, Sean, you were overcooking it. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. I don't know. Still don't. I think there's something to it. Let me ask you guys, Dominic Solanke. I want a yes or a no, or a depends on cost. No, I just want a yes or a no. I want a yes or a no in the chat. There's 530 of you here. I want to see about 100 yes or no's right now. Just on the idea. 26 years old. He's banging in the goals. He's not doing too much else in terms of build-up play. Can play on the left wing. Can play through the middle. He drifts. Is he... Look at this. I think you guys know. Look at that. I was on a show earlier. Al Phil, how you doing, mate? I'm not going to the game, buddy. No, I'm trying to stay away for a little while just to get my keep myself out of temptation. No. Wow. I was on a show. I was on Never a Foul earlier. I was talking to obviously 5 different fans of different channels. I said to them, I did this video last night, and I woke up this morning and there was 100 comments. Every one of them was against Dominic Solanke, and all 5 of those people, Kaz and Roms and Tyrone and Monts, the Aussie Gooner, all of them were astonished that it was a complete one-way wave of pessimism towards the concept of getting Dominic Solanke. 116 G and A, 33 in the Premier League, 50 million quid. I think forget about the price for a minute, because the price will be the price, right? He'll count as homegrown. He's a Premier League proven striker to a degree. He plays and has scored goals for the first time in a team that's finally starting to play progressive, attractive football. It's just whether you think he's good enough. Do you think he's significantly different, significant improvement on Richarlison? And I'm not itchy nose again. I'm not sure if he's a massive improvement, but I think he's definitely an improvement. But I also think that, and I mean this with the greatest respect, and I'll include myself in this observation. I think Tottenham fans right now are desperate for a big name signing to blend in with some of these youth we haven't had a big name signing for a long time. And if Brennan Johnson's name wasn't Brennan Johnson, if Brennan Johnson's name was Rashford, was Marcus Rashford, and and he put in those performances in the Tottenham shirt, I think more Tottenham fans would be more the people that are fed up with Brennan Johnson would be more patient and tolerant, because it comes from a big name. And I feel like we have I'm not sure what sort of syndrome, like an imposter syndrome. I'm not sure what it is, but I think that Tottenham fans are desperate for a big name to come in and would be more likely to tolerate average performances from a bigger name than we are from a junior name, from someone that doesn't come from high stock. And I think that Dominic Solanke kind of falls into that bucket. Whereas a Dusan Vlahovic, if he costs 50, 60, 70 million, and no one knows whether that guy has got the stones to do it in the Premier League, the Premier League's a different kettle of fish to Italy. Vlahovic goes up to Juve and has underperformed largely since he's been there. Everyone would be on board that, because I think it's a big name, and I think I personally think it's interesting insight into the kind of the minds of Tottenham fans. Let me carry on and see if there's any no's. See if there's any yeses. So that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1. Here we go. There's 1 yes. 12, 13, 14. 2 yeses. Look, it's no. The next yes is someone who's already said it. It's not a yes. Saying it again. But no one's interested. No one is interested in Dominic Solanke. Not at our level, says Lee. What is our level, Lee? What is our level? And I think, you know what? I think he would be the difference. Here's a sort of scenario for you. I think if he was to come today, I don't think it's going to happen anyway, but if he was to come, I think he comes and his contribution would be enough to get to guarantee us top 4. And then the difference between, I mean, we might get top 4 anyway, but if his 6 or 7 goals were the difference, then it would pay for itself, right? Because you get an extra, you'd make that 50 million back straight away. Dominic Solanke plus then you made the additional money getting into the Champions League. Do you then have more resources in the summer to then go and get that tricky, direct, dribbly winger that we're looking for, one on either side? And then that can then obviously offer the more creativity, more output. Does Dominic Solanke have the right ratios of goals to shots on target? He's in the top 10%. The top 10 percentile for conversions from goals to shots on target in the Premier League, in the top 5 leagues. He's a finisher. He does finish. And Tottenham are going to create chances. Just don't know if we have people in that position right now who can score. I'm not as against this transfer. Not that I think it will happen, but just the thought experiment of going after it. Totally get what will happen though. If the argument was it gets you to the Champions League, people would say that's the problem with the mindset. You're not looking for a Premier League title winning striker. You're looking for a striker that can get you into the Champions League. And I understand that. But you tell me, with Tottenham's traditional spending habits, we're not going to spend 110 million quid on an Osimhen. It's just not what Tottenham do. It doesn't matter how much money we create. I just don't think Tottenham are ever going to do that sort of thing. And traditionally, when we do spend massive money, we get it wrong anyway. What strikers would you go for? Let me know. I was going to catch up, see if there's any more yeses to blend. There's a few yeses, but mostly no. Mostly no. You can't meet you at the pub, mate. Can't meet you at the pub. Give me Jimenez and Xerxes. See, Xerxes, what's so special about him? He's just a lump. Big lump. He hasn't been smashing it for very long. He's only, I know he's younger, but he's got okay feet, but his finishing's not spectacular. Don't know what the big deal is about him. And Jimenez hasn't done it in the Premier League. I would love Santiago Jimenez, but I'm curious as to why the rejection of one player who has done it in the Premier League is doing it in the Premier League versus people that are overseas doing some doing well, some not doing so well in different leagues with different qualities. Jimenez or Ferguson over Solanke or Watkins for me. Yeah, Ollie Watkins is another one, another interesting option. I mean, maybe Aston Villa will need to liquidate him. But I had this conversation earlier on that show. I said, what about Ollie Watkins? I'd rather Ollie Watkins over Dominic Solanke. They all said Ollie Watkins takes 7 shots to finish to get to score a goal. Super chat from Hollywood Hotspur. Yes, and Solanke, for the reason we need to build that squad for Europe next year. Now is the time while we have competitive advantage in the transfer market. It's an interesting take. It's an interesting point, Hollywood. Where are you going to do? How does the environment shift in the summer? I personally think there'll be a lot of opportunities coming up that we don't know of yet. I'm not, because we don't even know which teams specifically are going to be in the mud financially. There'll be some that are on that kind of cusp. I think Bournemouth is one of them. In the video I put out yesterday, I did show the year before last, they had a loss of 55.5 million or something. So right on the threshold, but technically over the line. This year, they are predicted also to be on the wrong side of the line. And I couldn't find the data for 2.5, 3 years ago. But Bournemouth will be there or thereabouts on that cusp. Aston Villa look like they have to sell. Newcastle have to sell. So I think that there'll be opportunities. There might even be 2 or 3 other clubs, Fulham, for example, that need to liquidate. But in the specific market of a striker, not entirely convinced of where we go to get better, that we can be confident are going to transition into the Premier League and smash it out of the park at first hurdle. Not saying Dominic Solanke will. I really like Santiago Jimenez. I really do. But I'd put him in the same sort of ballpark, right? Probably 50, 60, 70 million. Let me know. Let me know what you're thinking. Lee Adler's saying, certainly not. Thank you for the super chat, Hollywood. Really appreciate it, my man. Really appreciate it. Solanke, no. Philippe Sergio saying, forget strikers, need better wingers. Sonny and Richarlison are good centre forwards. Yeah, well, I think we need help in all departments at the top end of the pitch. Would he score more in an attacking team? I think he'd get more opportunities. You know, I do think he'll get more chances in our system. But I think it comes down to how you break down the kind of parking the bus or the low block. Is he going to be the guy that's going to be able to, if you thread it through to him, is he going to take the opportunities that comes his way? As I said to you earlier, his shots to goal conversion ratios are up there with the top 10% in Europe. So if you're looking for stats, the answer would be yes. But again, stats, you have to bake in the context. It's not necessarily the same doing it in a Bournemouth team as it is in a Tottenham team, because the way that opportunities present themselves are going to be different. So smarter minds than I would have to kind of figure that stuff out. Solanke is not a big name signing. Yeah, exactly. Jason saying swap for Richie. Mbappe, big name signing. He will fit Ange ball. He'll fit any ball, that guy. Bring in Rashford. Here we go. KM says bring in Marcus Rashford. I'll ask you to do the same thing here, guys. Yes or no? Yes or no? Super quick. There's so many comments. I'm going to have to get to the bottom. Yes or no on Marcus Rashford? Because Man United will look to liquidate him. Forget about his wages. If there was a way that you could sort all that stuff out, if it was 60 million quid, same month, 50 million quid, would you take Marcus Rashford at Tottenham Hotspur right now? Let's see what we're doing here. No. No, it keeps, yeah. And whilst you're hitting the no button, move the mouse to the left and hit the thumb button as well, and hit the subscribe if you haven't already. No, no, no. Rinketic Sport says yes. Rashford, yes. Lee says no to Solanke, yes to Rashford. Best left winger in the league. Best left winger in the league this season. This season, don't know about that. Although, to be honest, look, I mean, who is the best left winger in the league? Martinelli's had a bit of a stinker this season. We haven't really, I mean, I don't know who we're putting on the left. Are we putting Richarlison on the left, or are we putting Sonny on the left to enter our name into the hat? Not sure. Mudryk, it's not him. Maybe he is the best left winger in the league, but I don't know. It's not saying a lot. I don't know. Yeah, Ikaro's saying no, 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 no. Trashford, no. I see. This is the thing, right? we don't want Solanke. We don't want Rashford. For 50 million quid, 60 million quid, which is Tottenham's sort of budget, right? Where do we go? What do we do? You're not going to get an Osimhen. We're not going to get an Osimhen. The left winger market is dry. We've been through this on Y-Scout. The fact that Darwin Núñez and Mudryk are the 6th and 5th most valuable left wingers in world football at the moment speaks for itself, right? I don't know. If not, are you out of your mind? I don't know. Is that me? Am I out of my mind? Is that what you're saying? Or I don't know. Yes? No. Look, here we go, right? Maybe the answer there is, I don't know. Elise's a right winger. Did you see his performance last night? Did you see his brethren, Eza? I thought it was Eze. I now know it's Eza. His name is Eza. I would love Tottenham to go and do something crazy, like phone up the Crystal Palace chairman and say, how does £130 million sound for both of them? You sign those two, and that's it, isn't it? That's all you need. Because Eza can play on the left. He can play on the left-hand side. He can sit in the 10 and compete with Maddison, or he can play off the left and jink inside. And then you have an Elise on the right. Maybe, how about 100 million and you could have Brennan Johnson? I don't know. Doubt it's going to happen. It would. That's definitely not going to happen. Rashford, no. I know. Yeah, I said I know he's on ridiculous money. I would never want or expect him to come, but I was just putting out the hypothetical. Blaine Devlin, super chat. Big up, Blaine. Good to see you, my man. Thank you so much for the generosity, and the same to you, Hollywood Hotspur. Big up, Sean Bugsy and the Technicolor Dream Chair. Simply put, we ain't signing anyone, but intrigued to see if Brian Hill moves. Solanke is a £20 million player at best. English tax, as per usual. Don't do it. £20 million player. Dominic Solanke this year. Let's have a look. Dominic Solanke has scored in all competitions. In the Premier League, 12 goals and 1 assist. 13 GA in 20. And then let's have a look at his all competition stuff. Can you see this? Let me get it up. Hang on. I'll take this down for a second, Blaine. I do appreciate it, mate, very much. Very generous of you, buddy. 23 in hang on, not just Premier League. Let's see what he's done in all competitions. Does it improve? Does it improve the stats? 24 games, 16 GA. So it's that 2 to 3 ratio. 2 and 3. Every 3 games, he scores or assists twice. 66% ratio. Same as a Timo Werner over the course of Timo Werner's career. It's good. It's what you need. Obviously, he's a central forward for Bournemouth, but the guy can drift to the left. He's even played as a sort of 10 at times as well. I don't get the hate or the kind of the reluctance. I still don't know who you guys want. Who is it we want? Timo Werner. Sorry, this is about Rashford still. You take Rashford over Solanke. Thank you very much for that, Blaine. Listen, I think you're right about the rest of the window. I don't think anything's going to happen. And as I said already, I don't want us to do anything that's knee-jerk. Papering over cracks is one thing, but putting plaster cast on a paper cut is quite another. And I'm not sure how I feel about Dominic Solanke. Like, I'm sitting here playing the devil's advocate because you guys are all very much against it. I'm not saying I'm very much for it. I just think that I'm surprised that there's not more curiosity about the concept, because I don't know how much better we're going to do in the summer. I don't know what strikers it is you realistically want, guys. You know, Pedro Neto. Yeah, very injury prone though. Very injury prone player. Mitoma, is that who's the best left winger in the league? Oh yeah, Pedro Neto maybe. Mitoma. Yeah, Mitoma's injured a lot though, isn't he, at the moment? Anthony Gordon. Yeah, he's been a better left winger this year than and we could have had Anthony Gordon. We could have had Anthony Gordon last summer. And I remember talking about this on a live stream. And you lot, again, all of you, maybe not all of you, but a lot of you that were there then were saying hell no to Anthony Gordon. Terrible attitude, the way he treated Everton. He's an ego. And I said, I think the guy's got something. I think he's got that kind of fight, that bite in him when he's playing. I remember when I went to see Tottenham versus Everton a couple of seasons ago, and we beat them 5-0, I think it was. And they were 5-0. Everton were 5-0 down, and Everton were like they didn't care. But he was running around he was still so engaged until the 95th minute, trying his best. He never stopped running, never stopped fighting, and I had some respect from him after that. And this year, he's really kicked on, and he's one of Newcastle's few very very bright sparks this year. Yes to Rashford, but needs a better attitude. This is the problem. This is why Ange, I would imagine Ange wouldn't tolerate a Rashford's attitude. Yeah, people want Neto. Yeah, listen, I do like Deco. I do like Doku is the best left winger. I don't know, is Doku a little bit all like, what's the phrase? All sizzle and no steak? Is that the phrase? Not sure. Rafinha? You play Rafinha on the left? Chiesa's not coming. That's never going to happen. Xerxes, why? What's so special about Xerxes? I don't know about this Xerxes fella. I did a review on him. I'm not that convinced. God, there's so many comments. I've got to catch up. When you got to get down to the bottom here. Doku is a show pony. Yeah, all sizzle, no steak. I'm sure that's the phrase. All sizzle and no steak. Doku's overrated, says Surf. All fart, no poo. I think he's mid as well, Philippe. I think he's mid as well. Simmons, yeah, he's not. I don't think he'll come. He's doing good things, isn't he? Different sort of player as well. Not really what I think we're going to look for. Now this is interesting. I love that. Let me ask you this question: the yes/no game again. They're playing the yes/no game. Smash the yes/no. MBEUMO. If Brentford said, I don't know what his situation is. Let's have a look. Yes or no on MBEUMO. Let's have a look at his when's his contract. I think this guy's awesome. 24 years old, right or a second striker, plays on the right. He could definitely play on the left. He's been injured for most of the season. 38 million euros. When's his contract done? His contract is 2 years, 2.5 years, 30 months. What are we saying, guys? Brian MBEUMO. Are we going to get some continuity on the chat here? MBEUMO, yes. There we go. Now we're talking. Taj, what you saying, bro? Why are you saying no? Explain why. Jadon Sancho, he might do it. He might make a comeback at Dortmund, but he didn't land in the Premier League, which is obviously one of those. It's one of those considerations where you bring players in, do very well in one league, horses for courses, doesn't always fit. MBEUMO. Yeah, look at that. Like, everyone's on board with it. Now we're talking. What's happening, Joey? Good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing okay. Jonas is saying no, sir. Florian Wirtz, that guy's probably going to be the world record transfer at some point when he goes to Real Madrid or to PSG or to wherever he's going to go next. He is that guy. No chance he's coming to Tottenham. Let's be real. We'll stay in the realms of reality here, guys. Bakayoko, yeah. Listen, I'm thinking more just as a general winger that can interchange. And I think I've seen MBEUMO banging down the left-hand wing as much as he does on the right. He's left-footed. I wouldn't say he's two-footed. He's predominantly on the left, but maybe he's more natural for the right-hand side. I'd like MBEUMO. You know what? I think that's going to be my push now. Even though there's absolutely no reason, rhyme, or logic to think that why Tottenham will be linked or have any links to him. But I'm a big fan of him. I'm a massive fan of his. Who's not homegrown? You want Jota? Jota is I don't know. Has it been confirmed he's going to West Ham? I think he might be going to West Ham from what I've seen. And I think if West Ham sign him, then West Ham have, not that I hate this phrase, but they have won the window. Not that there's much competition. There's very little competition. But if it was between Tottenham and West Ham have signed Calvin Phillips and Jota. And that kid, 21-year-old from Spain, is it, somewhere? For 25, 30 million. I forget who he signed. I think they've done very well. Speaking of doing very well, Blaine Devlin, mate, you're so generous. Very much appreciate your loyalty and your support of the channel, my man. Thank you so much. Whoever the people are that got the 5 memberships, I can't see them through StreamYard. There you go. One of them's Cantab. Justin Glazer, welcome to the team. Excuse me. Other 3 also want to make sure you say thank you to Blaine, mate. Blaine, you're an absolute legend, mate. Thank you so much, my man. Nico Williams has a decent release clause. Yeah, I don't know what his release clause is because I didn't even know he signed a new contract. It happened in December, didn't it? It did. Doku is the new Adama Traore. Grealish. Would you take Grealish? Could you take Grealish? I don't think he would come. I don't think he would come anyway. Eze before MBEUMO. Yeah, of course, yeah. Those performances last night from Elise and Eze were just absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Just Crystal Palace have got... You know what Crystal Palace should really do? If their owner was... I don't know their owner's sort of style, but rather than selling those teams, they should build the team around. They should go and get a striker that can compete and that can get 15 goals. They've got a really good back 2 or back 4, actually. They've got a decent back 4. improve the goalkeeper, get a defensive midfielder in there, and Crystal Palace could easily push for a European spot, and they could cement themselves among the conversation. But I doubt they will. I think that they're going to have their head turned by monster money in the summer, and I hope it comes from Daniel Levy. I really do. Yeah, Wilson T, I think, must have been a member as well. One of the gifts, one of the gets. We got here. Grealish would be good. Yeah, Jack Grealish would be awesome. At least they should be top of our summer list. Grealish, everyone's on board with Grealish. Yeah. Is that another? Darius Vasilian Kaitis has become a new member of the channel as well. Darius, very, very nice of you, man. Welcome to the show. Excuse me. Thank you for the support of the channel. I haven't got that much. I've only got 10 minutes, guys, and I haven't even spoken about the tonight's game yet, which was the whole point of coming on. Forgive me. Forgive me. Anyway, let's round off. Appreciate you, Darius. Appreciate everyone. Let's quickly pivot to some. What am I doing here? What am I doing? What are we doing? We're doing it again is what we're doing. Is this the most likely formation tonight for you, right? Vicario in goal, back four, Udogie, Van der Ven, Romero and Porro, a midfield three, hopefully of Maddison starting. Because Ange did say in the press conference that Maddison wanted more minutes than he got in the previous game. So if you're going to give him more than 25 minutes, then that probably means you're going to start him and take him off in the 55th, 60th minute, which this is the reason for the next 4 versions of these teams, because I've got a few different options here to show you and I want to get your thoughts on them. So wait until I've given you all 4 versions and then I want you to drop a comment in the thing saying 1, 2, 3 or 4. The specifics can be altered, but it's just the general theme here, right? So Udogie, Van der Ven, Romero and Porro, a midfield 3 of Højbjerg or Skip, Bentancur and Maddison. So a solid sort of double pivot, if you like, with Maddison. And then Timo, Richarlison, and Kulusevski, which means you drop Brennan Johnson to the bench. That kind of thing. Now, consider version 1 your option if you want Johnson to the bench, Kulusevski to start. But if you want to swap a Højbjerg for a Skip, that's fine. If you want to swap a Romero for a Dragusin, that's fine. But that's the general theme for version 1, right? Version 2. I've gone for something a little bit different, where Dragusin starts at right back with Romero and Van der Ven, but in so doing, you can allow Johnson to play at right wing and not worry so much about Johnson's inability to help Porro out. Because for me, the concern that I have today is Brentford, generally speaking. Let me take this away for a second. Brentford. The reason why Brentford are a good match for us, generally stylistically, is because they generally go down, they attack down the wings, right? They launch their players out on the halfway line, on the touch lines traditionally against us, and they go at us and they stretch us, and they've had relative success. Now they don't have Rico Henry on the left-hand side. I don't think they'll be able to play. I'm pretty sure the rules dictate they won't be able to play Reguilon, and so are they going to play Lewis Potter or Potter Lewis, whatever his name is, on the left? I'm not sure what they're going to do, but they'll probably play a back 3. And then they're going to try and do that width thing. And if Tottenham do get transitioned, if the ball gets turned over during the game, which it will do, it always does at some point, then if we're having inverted fullbacks again, are they going to have their strengths down the width? Are they going to expose us when either Udogie or Porro or both get sucked into the inversion? And consequently, that's why I've gone for a version 2 that allows for a Dragusin to be on the right-hand side, or a Romero, if you happen to be someone that thinks that Romero could play better at right-back, and Dragusin at centre-back, so that Romero can come in and sit as the inverted fullback to protect, still allow Johnson to be at the top end with Richarlison and Werner, and then again, you can have Højbjerg or Skip. All right, so that's the second option of where I'm trying to go with it. Again, take the theme rather than the specifics, and let me know if 2's your number. Version 3 is far more aggressive. 2 number 10s. Maddison and Kulusevski in the midfield with Bentancur. No Skip, no Højbjerg. Just Bentancur in the 6, and then trying to shoehorn both Johnson and Kulusevski into the team alongside Maddison. And then at the back, again, take your pick. You can put Dragusin in if you want, but the theme generally is more of a 4-1-2-2-1. Which is far more risk on, but do we need it for the creativity And do we have to worry so much about the fact that without Brentford having the luxury of an MBEUMO, no Vissa, no MBEUMO, no Henry, that they're just not as dangerous? They've got Neil Maupay up top end, right, alongside. I know Ivan Toney's there, but you'd think that Van der Ven and Romero and Porro and the doggy can handle that. So that's the third version. Again, you can change it how you want, but the general theme is a much more aggressive midfield. Or version 4. Version 4, I've gone for something a little bit crazy, where you're trying to find space for Porro as well as a Dragusin, like the third centre-back, but also not to remove Pedro Porro. So could you bring Pedro Porro into the midfield and give him a little bit more technical craft responsibilities, but also then have space for Johnson and Werner? This would probably result in no Kulusevski. He would be benched. But ultimately, are we going to play Dragusin tonight? And if so, do we keep Romero in the team as well, or do we do a straight swapsies? So I don't know if all of that makes sense, guys, but I really want to get your attention. This is the beautiful thing about doing a cheeky little 1 hour stream during the day, is I can ask you guys to kind of to get in and amongst the situation. And I'm learning from you guys what you want exactly. He's not going to drop Porro. All right, so 1, 2, 3, or 4. Are we standardizing it? Are we getting experimental tonight? What are we thinking, guys? Are we doing something a little bit different? Is there going to be a way that we can see, you know, new players in new positions? Is it just going to be everyone shoot the strongest 11 shoehorned in? Does Dragusin start? Get your comments in right now. Swap team number 1 for Lee. All right, so we're going standardized thing with a Højbjerg or a Skippy moving in, and that means someone out of Kulusevski and Johnson has to be dropped. Fair enough. Gary's saying swap Dragusin and Romero. So you want Dragusin in and Romero bench tonight. Interesting. Maddison comes in, Johnson out. A lot of people want Johnson to be benched tonight. Yeah, version 4. Listen, I think that in version 4, I think that Pedro Porro is good enough technically to be able to handle it. Whether or not Ange wants to experiment at this stage in the year, I don't know. Maybe these experimentations of new systems needs to wait until the summer when you have a lot more time. But look, you know, everybody else around us in the league has European football to distract themselves. We haven't. We got nothing. We've got nothing to do apart from like hypothesize. 3 for Stanley Kush. What was number 3? Let me remind myself. Version 3 was double 10. Swedish nightclub settings. Too many 10s. Too many 10s. Going out in Stockholm tonight, says Stanley Kush. Andrew Bennett wants us to go out in Oslo. Scandinavian settings tonight. Play Porro at right wing. Yeah, I didn't even... You know what? Niall, you're correct, mate. I should have had a 5th scenario there. I should have had a 5th scenario. What was 2, says Rob. Number 2 was... basically the standard formation, like a 6 and 8 and a 10 or 2 6s or a double pivot, whatever, but some version of trying to shoehorn Dragusin in and Romero and Van der Ven, but in so doing, you're kind of protecting the back line, which allows you to play Johnson on the right and Maddison and not need Kulusevski to come back and clear up. Because for me, I think that Tottenham are very vulnerable when you have Johnson on the right and Porro also on the right. When the transition happened and Porro's caught upfield, Johnson doesn't get back to help out, and that's where we concede a lot of our chances. So maybe with Dragusin playing at right back, or Romero, whichever one is more comfortable playing as the kind of inverted fullback, then maybe that system doesn't punish us quite as much when Johnson doesn't get back. We've needed a Swedish nightclub lately. Not enough creative. Exactly. We do need a Swedish nightclub. Midfield will be overrun by 2 10s. Yeah, I hear you. Porro to overlap much more if Kulu plays. Exactly. It's the point I'm making, right? When Porro's playing and Kulu's up the top, Kulu gets back. Kulu helps out. When Sar's there as well, Porro can do what he wants. When Sar is there, tidying things up, and you got Kulu on the right, both of them get back and suck up that space. Without Sar and with Brennan Johnson at the right wing, Porro gets isolated. No one gets back to help out, and that's where we concede so many of our opportunities. So it's not something that I am massively into. Have Romero inverting through the midfield. Exactly, this is what I'm saying. Yeah, you put Romero at right back, but ultimately we're going to have a lot of possession tonight. You would expect. So you move things around. Move things around. Right, guys. Last thing I need from you is I've got to go. Got to do a bit of work before the evening's entertainment. Score predictions, guys. Score predictions, please. Are we winning tonight? If so, by how many? What's the score going to be? And let me know in the chat. And I'm still going to have to make up my mind whether I'm going to do the watch along or not. Either way, bang on 9:30. If I don't do the watch along, get yourself back here, and we're going to do the post-match fan show or post-match highlight reactions, all that stuff. I think Henry's going to join me. I might get another couple of guests on as well. We're going to go for everything, and hopefully we'll be celebrating 3 points and 4th spot in the league. What are we talking about here? Let's have a look-see. 6-0 to the Spurs, says Fat Slags Movie. Do I really think Maddison will start today? Yeah, well, just based on what he said that 25 minutes wasn't enough. He wanted more minutes. So if you're going to give him more than 25 minutes, then you're either forcing a substitution at half time, which I don't think you do, or you let him start, run himself out, and then take him off after 55 minutes and then then you move Kulusevski into the 10 and bring on Brennan Johnson. That's probably what I would expect to happen. Johnson starts on the bench, Kulu on the right, Maddison in the 10. Maddison plays himself out, and then we move Decky in and Johnson on. 3-2 says Lee. Yeah, be a good game. PH Family 4-1, 6-0, 2-1. It's going to be tight. 2-1. JC Flores says 3-1, 3-1, 7-2 says Jonas. 5-1. Ange has already said he's rotating due to 3 games in a week. Has he? I didn't see that. That's interesting. Does that mean he's rotating in this game, though? Or does it mean he's rotating? What's the next game we're playing? Oh, we played City, then this, and then obviously Everton next. 2-0, 2-1. Solomon, yeah, Solomon's not fit. He's not back yet, I don't think. 3-0, 1-1. Jason Helms is going for a drawski. Interesting, guys. Look at this. Everyone thinks we're going to concede, apart from Gary, and Derek, and CDC. Most people think. You know, when you say something, you start to observe, you say it, and all of a sudden, your observation is proven completely wrong. Yeah. Everyone thinks we're going to concede, apart from the next 6 people that all think we're keeping a clean sheet. Ryan Shovel, 1-0. Yeah, Rooty 2. You're right. There we go, guys. A lot of confident outcomes tonight. I hope it's a good game. I just hope Tottenham get a bit more, whatever the opposite of toothless is. Toothy. Because against City, we were toothless. Let's get toothy, you know? Look at that. Donovan's gone all the way through. Romero, the 7th minute. Richarlison, 28th. And Werner, 74th. It'll be nice if Timo gets on the dance floor tonight. I like to see it. Right, guys, I want to say massive thank you to all of you for hanging around with me for the last hour. Let me know. Oh, I've got some member chats here. I've got to get out as well. Sorry. Big up, Sean. Big up to Orox Beats. 4-0. Also, we hope we hijack the Jota deal. Yeah, well, Jota would be interesting. I like that. Appreciate your support, mate, on the channel. Thank you very much for being a member. As to you, Rick in Rio, I hope where are you in Rio? The Copper. What's the beach called? Copper. Can't think what the beach is called. My mind's gone blank. But anyway, season's greetings over to you. Copacabana. It's even in the comments. I was trying to think what the name of it was. You even put it in the comment. Copacabana. There you go. Mate, I hope you're enjoying life. I hope your doggy's okay as well. Thank you for your support as well, my man. Right, guys, we got to go. I got to do some work. I'll see you later on this evening. I'm thinking about doing the watch along, but if I don't, you'll see me at 9:30 UK time. Massive thank you to all the super chats. To Hollywood Hotspur, to Blaine, Devlin, unbelievable support. Blaine, as always, my man. To Darius for joining a new member, and for Orox and for Rick for your continued support. I love you all, guys. I'll see you later on. As always, I'm going for 3-1 Tottenham, like the rest of you, like most of you. See you later. Come on, you Spurs.